Oh my god. Yo, yo, yo. Hey, look, I found some stuff on a few of these charts that made me go, oh my god. That's why I opened with that. I'm sorry if you were wearing headphones, and hopefully you're having a good day so far. Welcome back to the channel. My, how I have missed you. Look, this is my excuse, all right? AT&T got fiber in my neighborhood finally, and I had like 50 megs or something, and now I have gigabit, so it's like 1,000 up, 1,000 down, so I can upload videos so much faster. Okay, all right, this is where the excuses come in. I got that done like a month ago. And then like from there, I got it set up in my office so that I can hardwire into my PC and everything like that. I even have a camera that I just set up and stuff, but I haven't like fully set it up and connected it to the computer and stuff like that. But that should be coming soon. It's literally sitting right in front of me. It's a Sony A7 III. It's been sitting in my closet for like years, and I'm finally gonna put it to use for the YouTube channel. So look forward to that. You can see my amazing face on video soon, maybe. So all right, yo, let's check it out, dude. Like we have missed. I think that my last video. Well, so the install was like around here. So we missed all of this with AMC. I know that a lot of you guys follow me fundamentally on AMC, but I want to do a market overall update. But AMC has had a crazy few weeks since we went offline. It always happens like that. That tends to be what happens. It must be just because Kenny G pays me to go offline while this is happening, so that people feel uncertainty. Don't tell him I said that. Or something. All right. So anyway, so this is the situation with AMC, guys. Look, you have a you you have a mate. We're gonna talk about the market in general too. We're gonna look at SPX. We're gonna look at some really long term stuff, and we're also gonna look at some midterm stuff just to make a better idea. We're also gonna look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, man, oh man. And look, the market in general. So we'll get into it, but let's talk about AMC. So AMC has broken out of its long-term downtrend that was established by the peak in the June run as well as the peak in September when it peaked out at $52. It has done this on another occasion, but this is a more significant break because this is the first time that you've had a weekly close above this trend. Okay. This is a sort of doji candle on the weekly here. To me, the overall signal is that you are going to see a retracement here just because of the gappiness of this and just the exhaustion. But overall, you have higher volume, higher highs in volume on the weekly. And then, I mean, look, Bears took control here towards the end of the week, and probably if you look at lower time frames, you're starting to probably develop some sort of, yeah, like you have the double top. Sorry. So I mean, look, when I say retracement, what I'm talking about here is generally speaking, I think that the highest likelihood, actually I have this pre-drawn. The highest likelihood move first is that you have a move down here. Let me go to the daily chart so that it's not split up in that. Oh, no, that messes it up. Let me see. I forgot how I had this pre-drawn. But basically, look, the basic idea is you're going to have a swing down here, okay? This is a very distributionary kind of look in the short term. But I think overall, what you've done here is you've had this longer term accumulation look that has developed. And that developed accumulation, right? This bottoming, rounding bottom sort of look here. You're gonna have a push down, and now the trend is all messed up because I don't have after hours on and everything like that. But basically, what I think is the most likely scenario is that you have a push down to the 20-ish. Let's go back to the hourly chart so you can see it more clearly. You have a push down to the 20-ish region from here, okay? Probably a fake out to the upside early. You push back down. You maybe you retest this trend, and we would have to redraw it to make sure that we have it perfectly drawn here. I just redrew it kind of roughly as I was prepping charts for this video. This is most likely. And look, I mean, we've always said AMC loves 786, so maybe you have an opportunity down here at 1884, and then you round out, right? But what I am ultimately expecting is because of this break of this downtrend, And sorry, this is probably not that clear. Let me adjust the size of my. Let me adjust the size. Wait, how do I do that? What the? It's been so long since I've used this program on my computer that I have forgotten how to use it. There you go. That should be a little bit clearer. So I think that the most likely scenarios is either you come right off of this retest of this trend. I mean, looking at it from this angle, I do think that you can push below 20 here and really freak people out before you round up. Look for the golden pocket, but we have said over and over that AMC likes the 786, so this kind of does make sense, guys. And I do think that you're done with this bear trend. Like once you close some daily and weekly candles above this, like I said, for the first time you've had a weekly candle close above. And look, the trend that we were talking about with AMC, we talked about it on Twitter, everything like that. It held up, and what it actually is it's a long-term trend. You can clearly draw a line here from the all-time bottom on January 4th to this uptrend. And I think that this trend is going to be the one that wins out ultimately. And what does that look like on a longer-term basis, right? I'm sure that's a question a lot of people are going to be asking. Look, I mean, what this means, guys, is that you push down here temporarily. Maybe you create another high here. Maybe you create a double top kind of look here. But ultimately, even if you come all the way back down here, 1750 or so, this trend is winning, right? So then you can have a reaccumulation type look, something like that. But I do think that you're particularly bullish in this scenario. Does that mean that, like I said, I mean, you got to see what goes on throughout this coming week. This is a big week for AMC. But I do see the curling down happening there. And I mean, looking at it here, and then I also posted the monthly chart on Twitter. And look, you got your first monthly close above this trend as well, right? So things are looking up for AMC. And I know that what people are going to get mad about is I'm not just openly coming out and saying that you're going to have a parabola continuation where you just shoot into the hundreds or whatever on this stock. It's a possibility. You have 16. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't get a monthly close. I don't know if I misspoke and said that you have a monthly close above here, but you are currently on the monthly candle above this downtrend here. So if you finish out this month above this downtrend, you have officially closed outside of the all-time downtrend that you have from June of 2021, right? So exciting days ahead, I would say, overall. And I think that people shouldn't get so upset whenever I say that there's potential for downside, because ultimately a break of a trend like this is a clear and utter signal that you will have that sort of explosive move. Are you still convicted in the play if you have to go through another run down here to 1750? If it ultimately means that this uptrend will ultimately hold from this bottom, and then what happens is by if in 6 months you're basically saying like there's no way basically this trend is going to hold so strong that your bottom is $40, your bottom is $45, $50. That's the type of thing that you're going to see going into next year if this trend can hold. So, and again, I mean, I don't make the charts. The charts make themselves, and then I just analyze them. And I could be completely wrong about all of this. And you could just go parabolic and shoot into these crazy numbers. And I mean, I could be totally wrong, and you could break down below this trend. That's definitely not what you want to see happen, but it's a possibility. So that's my overall sentiment with AMC. I think that in this coming week, you probably see some rounding out happen. And then from there, you want to see a new high on this 27.25, and what that volume looks like is going to really matter a lot. And whether that comes, this month or in a month or two, that's when it'll actually matter. But I think things look overall really good, and I'm happy to hold this stock and be patient with it and see where it goes from here. So let's look at next. Let's just look at Bitcoin. This is a really simple look for Bitcoin, guys. Like overall, Bitcoin has found support on this monster monster of an uptrend here that is all the way back from 2013. And obviously, I just drew this trend line, so bear with me. But you get the basic idea, right? This is a weekly chart. You found support on this over and over again in the history of Bitcoin. Does that mean that it continues to use this as support? Not necessarily, but what I will say is that you should be looking out for it. And we're going to talk about SPY and SPX as well after this. But I just want to point this out because I think that crypto can be a good signal for the broader market. A lot of times, if I am a little unclear on the direction of the broader market, I like to look at crypto as kind of an indicator, and vice versa. Sometimes crypto can there's tea leaves there that you can draw from crypto, and you can say, well, since crypto looks particularly bullish, perhaps we should look at the broader market and say, okay, maybe we're getting more bullish there as well. Because what I'm saying is, obviously, you don't want to take it out of context, but what you can say is, look, this chart looks broad, from a broad perspective, this chart looks like it has the potential to go more bullish than it has in the recent past. How does crypto look, right? Because if crypto is succeeding, most likely the broader market is succeeding. These two are very, very much related to each other. And so I like to use those kind of as a way to confirm my bias in one direction or the other. Bitcoin has just continuously created these kind of ascending triangles, which are bullish patterns, generally speaking. And as we said in the video before I went on hiatus, for the 50th time, I've always been expecting a move to this 28K sort of level, right? That's since we were around 19,000, probably in this region back here in June, July. I have a tweet that says I think Bitcoin's going to go to 28K. I've kind of been expecting that, right? And since then, you've seen this continuous, even though you press down and you're retesting these levels, you've seen this continuous move up. I expect that trend to continue. You have a breakout of this key level here, probably a daily level if I had to guess. Yeah, so it might be a weekly level. Let's see. No, it's not weekly. Whatever. 4 hour. Yes, 4 hours. So you can see you've had a couple of bull traps here. Boom, and now you've broken back above. You're retesting this again as support, and then going into the broader market. Let's look at the ES1 chart. This one's a little bit more zoomed in, and then I'll look at the broader perspective with you guys just to give you more context. Look, it might have been last week on Twitter. I did miss a call here when SPY was sitting around 420, 415-ish. And I was saying that I think it's most likely that it goes to 400 first, retest this sort of level here before it continues up to 430. But we've been calling for 430 for months on SPY. At this point, definitely at least a month and a half. And that's kind of come to fruition at this point. And what we were basing that on was Fibonacci retracement drawn from this peak here, and we're looking at ES1 here, 46.3150 peak to around this 336.37, which is right like 360, and we were expecting a push up to the 707, which right now on ES1 sits at 43.40 and correlates with this downtrend. So let's talk about that for a little while and why I feel, and this is a good example of what I'm using crypto for to contextualize the markets. It is possible, right? It is possible for crypto to have a bull run like I'm expecting. Not a bull run, I'm sorry. Have a bullish, I don't want to say bull run, because that insinuates new highs and everything. We're not there yet, right? We got to break through 28K. We're going to have to break through 32-ish K and see where volume is at from there. And then you can start to say, okay, maybe we can have deeper rallies into the 45, 50-ish region, but we're definitely not there yet. But since crypto looks so bullish, right, like what I'm calling for here might not seem like a lot, but another 30% move potentially in Bitcoin means that the market is going to have to generally be generally have to be more liquid. What does that mean, right? The narratives that you're going to see are, easing, right? Like cash flow becoming a little bit more easy. no more interest rate hikes, or at least minimal. You're starting to see, right, the last inflation report has said, and again, I don't really care about the fundamentals. I'm just talking from a narrative perspective. You've seen the inflation report come out, and actually inflation it seems like it's curling over, right? You're starting to see it slow down a little bit. Those are the sorts of narratives that you're going to see, the spin that you're going to see. And if that is what occurs, and they continue to do that, look, if they stop doing rate hikes, right? If they say, hey, inflation slowed down enough, and they say we don't need to raise rates anymore, I'm telling you right now that you're going to see S&P 500 go back to these 450s. And once it tests 450 and it breaks 450, you're talking about new highs. And a lot of people don't want to hear that right now. A lot of people in retail don't want to hear that. And what I say is, to me, if Twitter doesn't want it to happen and it looks like it could happen, I generally like the odds. That's kind of because the game is to beat retail. That is the institution's game. This is what they do. It's like they take your money through taxes, Composite Man does, and then he turns around and he takes your money in the market if you're a risky options player. That's what they do, and they do it through narratives. So you can sit here and talk about how, inflation and the dollar looks, blah, blah, whatever. All that stuff doesn't matter. This does look like a rising wedge, though, I will say that. So, but just pay attention to that, right? Pay attention to the sentiment. And look, even if you break back down here, you test this 410, that's what this kind of looks like. When you look at this like a rising wedge, actually, this kind of move does look like it could be occurring here. So just pay attention to that. Pay attention to this rising wedge and see what it's doing. I'm not going into this with a bias. Personally, I do have like very, very light call position. Still net long, but overall, we've done really well. Once we found support here, I was all in on this bull rally occurring. I did not think for a second that we were going to continue. We were going to continue going down. And you can go check my last YouTube video and see that I was like, if there's going to be a crash, it's going to happen from up here. It's not going to happen from down here. So yeah, looking at some more of these longer-term uptrends. I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I'm just excited to be talking to you guys again and talking in general because I love the sound of my voice. You have this uptrend. You have this uptrend that was established by the bottom of the '08 market crash, and this bottom here in what is this? December 2018, January 2019. That's kind of where you found this local bottoming move. As well, you have some price action here after the COVID crash, and then you can say that you have this COVID bottom. Maybe you have developed a new bottom, so you do have this uptrend as well that you can be looking at. And what does that all mean? Basically, and this is a downtrend that you broke before you had this continuation on this rally. What does that mean? Worst case scenario, you're likely to find support on either one of these trend lines, right? You could go even lower. But overall, I think that you're kind of moving away from this green line being a thing anymore. I mean, certainly if you break this trend, then you can have that big, nasty dump, and that's what retail will be looking for. I think that that is still pretty unlikely at these levels, just based on sentiment. I think that overall the sentiment is you're pretty likely to start maybe start to see some rolling over, and then maybe you press down like we said before, and then you try and press through again, and then you can create new highs. That sort of move, kind of looking at the chart and just looking at it again with fresh eyes and trying to challenge my beliefs, that's kind of what I'm seeing now. So I think that it's going to be kind of boring the next few weeks. Honestly, I don't think that it's just going to have this sharp plummet off of here. But I'd be more than happy to play puts. Right? If you break below, let's see. Yeah, so if you break below this like 420 level, I mean, you have an easy put play down to like 415, 410, and maybe even you could extend down to 400 again. But generally speaking, this green line that has been acting as a support, right? It's kind of saved the market. I mean, it looks tough to reach now. Like, I gotta be honest, but I mean, I'm not gonna take it off of the table. You haven't had a break to either direction. So until you have a break to either direction, the reality is that this chart is very simple at the end of the day. And what you're gonna have is, right, until you break this and hold it to either direction, this red and this green line, it doesn't really matter. Looking at SPX on the much broader timeline, zooming out to like all time, right? You have the Great Depression top, the 2000 market bubble top, and then from here, let's see, you had a double top there. Perhaps you could make the case that you're kind of going into this rising wedge, but overall, what that means is you have higher highs developing. And look, if you break this thing to the top, you're talking about, right, you haven't gotten into bubble territory, right? You haven't done .com bubble type moves yet. And what that can look like is a UTAD, right? So in Wyckoff, you could have this really weak push. Whew, I don't know, man. That looks freaking high, dude. Fuck. That's hard to imagine. Excuse my French. I'm sorry, but it's hard to imagine the price pushing that high to 7,000 on SPX, but that is bubble territory. And what's this, 2024? Okay, I mean, a few years down the line, that could be the look of things. I mean, you know, my inherent bias against the market, overall, I still am like a big old bear against inflation, everything like that. But my inherent bias is kind of turning me off to this. But I mean, it is realistic. I mean, you had right, you had a double in price after the COVID crash. We're pretty much double where we were there. So why couldn't we double again? Overall, it's always important to contextualize the market, look at these broader trends, look at everything that's going on from a broader perspective, especially when I haven't made a video in like a month. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know I was kind of rambly, jumping all over the place, but hopefully you gained some value out of this. If you did, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Bitcoin is actively retesting this right now. Oh no, it's not. It already. Oh yeah, no, it is. Okay. So yeah, definitely be watching this. This is very interesting. I know that futures is open, so that's probably having a big influence on the price right now. What do we have so far in futures? Not much. Nothing too interesting occurring thus far. You've gapped down here, but you're kind of just chilling. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens on the market open. I think that. I mean, I just can't look at this chart and just be like, yeah, dude, like it's definitely going to do this. I mean, there's just too much support developed here now. So I just think that you're going to round out and continue doing what you've been doing on Bitcoin, which makes me think that a continued press up to this 435-ish is pretty likely. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. I know that a lot of you are going to disagree with me being bullish, generally speaking, on the market in the short term. But I would argue that perhaps that should be, you know, the populace and the general sentiment of retail being that sort of direction should be maybe a sign, not to say you guys aren't smart, but just looking at broader, you know, kind of narratives, maybe you know, it could be a good idea to go against that sentiment in some ways, and just be prepared for anything, because man, oh man, are we ever in the Wild West. All right, have a good rest of your week, and I should be making a video tomorrow. I'm hoping I'll be doing daily, so yeah, peace.